historic day and a peaceful transfer of power again unfolds before the nation. But not all are celebrating this inauguration. Beyond the ceremony, at this hour, unrest is unfolding in the streets of Washington, D.C. Clad in riot gear, some protesters smashing car windows and damaging businesses, police responding with pepper spray and tear gas. We've learned that more than 90 people have been arrested so far and at least 3 people hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries, among them police officers. This as President Trump takes over a bitterly divided nation, his detractors furious over a range of issues, ranging from his rhetoric and past treatment of women to his policy proposals, cabinet picks, and warm position toward Russia. Regardless of one's political persuasion, Donald Trump is now the nation's president. In his inaugural speech, the president reiterated themes that helped propel him to power. He spoke, as he did on the campaign trail, of an America First foreign policy.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city, in every foreign capital, and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
All right, we're going to take you back live to Washington. There you see President Trump and the First Lady, Melania Trump, as this parade is about to get underway. This is going to be divided up into 3 divisions, and it's going to start with the United States Army staff element, followed by the field band. Then you'll see students from the, I guess you'd call them, well, from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And then the full United States Army, the Color Guard, National Guard, the Reserve, then the New York Police Department, Emerald Society of Pipes and Drums, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, this is considered the review of the troops here. Each branch of the military will actually pay tribute during the parade, in fact, with a flyover. When each appropriate section comes through, the branch of the military comes through here, the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force. They are so lucky with the weather because it was supposed to be like 80% raining, and it looks like it's holding off for now.
Well, what was interesting is when President Trump started to deliver his inauguration address, it started to rain for a couple of moments, and then it stopped.
Yes.
And, you know, and a few minutes later afterwards, Reverend Franklin Graham said that was basically sort of getting a blessing that, you know, from God, that the rain for a few moments and then stopped.
Yep. And so this parade or review of troops is prior to the parade, and then the president and vice president and their wives will get into their respective cars, and this parade will start. 8,000 participants this year. Parades include high school participants in the parade include some high school bands, some college military bands, marching bands. I noted last night, I'm from South Carolina, the Citadel Marching Band will be performing today.
One of the great military academies here in the U.S.
I attended it.
Certainly the best one in the South. Yeah, one of my best friends is a graduate of the Citadel, and I remember he came to visit me at Florida State, walked to my fraternity house, and he goes, wow, this is nothing like where I go to school.
Oh. You know, let's talk about this limo that President Trump now has. Basically, Obama called his the Beast. And this is a brand new limo that Donald Trump will be riding in. Details about the vehicles necessarily not totally known, but we can assume that it's bulletproof, $1.5 million price tag. It's brand new, and they're saying it resembles a Cadillac Escalade SUV on the front end, enormous inside. This is brand new. Don't know what he'll end up calling his. Obama called his the Beast.
I read something the other day. I just read the headline, didn't read the article, but correct me if I'm wrong, Matt and Peter, but I heard this limo actually comes equipped with a cannon.
It's got
a cannon.
It's got certain armaments in the front. Yeah,
certain armaments.
I read that. I don't know specifically what they are, but I remember reading the article as well, and they had a schematic of the defense mechanisms put in place, and those are only the ones that we really know about. And I'm sure there are others And that basically it's a tank on wheels.
Yeah, and it can seat up to 7 people or 5 people if you want to have a conference, like a conference room set up.
Okay.
Hey, you might have to have a last-minute conference call, you know?
I'm sure it comes equipped with a kitchen, too. Who knows? It certainly looks like it's big enough. You know, I remember when President Obama was in town on one of his trips here to Los Angeles on a fundraiser, he stayed out in Woodland Hills, and I remember covering that, and it was interesting to watch that motorcade come down because it was like, you know, one black limo after another. But boy, the one the president's in certainly stands out from the rest.
Yeah.
A little bit of history too with these parades. It'll be interesting to see what happens here today. If we're able to see them clearly today during the parade, or if it's just the motorcade. But back in '77, apparently Jimmy Carter broke protocol and got out and walked.
Yes, that's true.
It's happened a few times.
It's a different time.
They all try to get out and walk a little bit.
Right.
It shows that they're.
He was the first one to do it, though. Yeah.
Which I'm sure their Secret Service agents
Freaking out.
completely freaking out about. Yeah.
So if they do that now, it's probably is more choreographed, and the Secret Service is ready for it.
They've planned it where they're going to get out. Well, and the interesting part is, if you look at it, they have Secret Service agents that walk beside the vehicle. You know, that was when they used to have the convertibles, but they don't have convertibles anymore, probably as a result of John F. Kennedy in Dallas.
Right. And that was a similar scene. You had Secret Service agents by the vehicle, but it was a convertible, as you said, and unfortunately he was assassinated.
This parade will be 1.5 miles. It will go from the Capitol to the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue. As we've said, 8,000 participants with President Trump and First Lady Melania and Vice President Pence and his wife leading the way.
Okay, so do any of you guys have a sense of who's in which vehicle here? Like, you know, obviously President Trump in the lead vehicle, maybe the Vice President the next one. What is after that? Family members? Well,
I think the next two back, I mean, I think those are just support. I mean, they've got Secret Service agents riding on the rails. I'm sure that they always have an ambulance that trails back behind. I mean, who knows today, but it's quite an entourage that the president has.
And they're expecting this parade, once it gets started, to last about an hour and a half, substantially shorter than other parades in the past. I think President Trump wanted it that way, possibly so everybody could get ready for the 3 balls that they have to attend tonight. They've got 2 official balls, and then they also have an armed services ball that happens tonight. And then tomorrow morning, the National Prayer Service, which will take place at the Washington National Cathedral. That will include representatives from all religious faiths. So after an enormously busy day today and even yesterday, then tomorrow morning, another appearance. But welcome to the White House. Welcome to the presidency, right?
You know, after the inauguration, we saw the president signing a couple of documents, executive orders, you know, with a big crowd around him. Probably nothing really significant, mostly dealing with Secret Service protection and that type of things. But there were reports that maybe some executive orders were going to be signed today, which, you know, basically rescinding executive orders placed out by President Obama. Do you think any of that was really done today?
I don't think it was done there. I think that he'll probably do that back at the White House later this afternoon. I've heard that he would sign maybe 3 or 4 orders that repeal executive orders that Barack Obama signed. However, the lion's share of that is going to take place on Monday.
Okay. So give us the agenda for Monday. What do you think is going to happen?
I think that he's got a lot of campaign promises to fill. I mean, it could be he's talked about he would stop illegal executive orders. There's a lot of, according to to Trump and to a lot of the Republicans, there's a fair amount of leeway because a lot of President Obama's executive orders were deemed illegal in the Trump team's eyes. He's talked about ending Syrian immigration. He's talked about taking steps to get the wall started. He's talked about ending the Iran deal. He's talked about ending sanctuary cities. So I think it's fruitful pickings for the president if he chooses to repeal some of these executive orders, which, again, that's the weakness of governing by executive order. It's not a durable way of governing.
So the court cases that have been brought against some of those executive orders, once he rescinds them, does that pretty much...
They become moot.
Court cases go away at that point,
It's moot.
right?
They go away, right, exactly.
Okay.
They've done that more and more in recent years, executive orders, to avoid treaties, to avoid the Senate's ratification requirements, giving them more flexibility to get it done. But the executive order only lasts as long as the president's there. If the next president's ready to repeal it, it's gone.
And in President Obama's defense, he actually signed fewer executive orders than his predecessors. They just happened to be more significant
Had a
than
bigger
his
impact.
predecessors.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, and if we take a look too here at this video, we're still waiting on the parade. President Trump there. I'm thinking my glasses are clear that is President Trump there in the front seat. On the far right, it seems like that's him. Maybe it's Secret Service.
Well, maybe the back seat. I'd be a little surprised if he was in the front seat. It's probably a Secret Service agent in the front seat with the driver, and he and his.
It looked like him.
It's just a strange-looking vehicle.
It is.
Yeah, well, he has to be protected as well. But while all this pomp and circumstances is going on, White House, what's happening over there?
Oh my goodness.
Transition. They have 6 hours to take everything that the Obamas had there and move it out and do the transfer. And I am thoroughly confused. Why do they put such a limit, such a short amount of time, the 6 hours transition?
Well, because the staff takes great pride in ensuring that the current occupant of the White House, so Mr. and Mrs. Obama, it is their house until those documents are signed. But the second that they leave, when the new president comes in, the White House staff wants it to feel like home. So even I heard someone say they were even talking about Mr. Trump's snack of choice will replace President Obama's snack of choice. I mean, they're very, very detail oriented, and they leave nothing to chance.
Well, I mean, it's such detail. It's going to be pretty fascinating. I think also, Matt, too, a lot of people had talked about, the Trumps do have a lot of money. They're known to be, a lot. And he said that he will not change the beautiful decor of the White House. He's said that. So that'll be interesting to see. But Chief White House usher called all this organized chaos.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure. I just wonder if any boxes were packed a little bit ahead of time.
Oh, of course. They said there were some empty frames even when Obama was signing this morning behind him.
Let's get over to Kai Goldberg. We've got some breaking news concerning the weather here in Southern California.
Yeah, we've had flash flood warnings, Glenn and Lou. Now we're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning that is taking place. Here's a look at your 5 Live Max Doppler. We're taking a look really at the west central Orange County area. And this basically severe thunderstorm warning in effect until about 1 o'clock. And Doppler radar indicating that these thunderstorms are able to produce some pretty damaging winds. We're talking about winds up to about 60 miles per hour. Now, this particular storm we're talking about, located just about 9 miles east of the Two Harbors area, and it's moving in a northeasterly direction at about 35 miles per hour, so moving very quickly, but very dangerous. And the impacted locations include Irvine, Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa, Seal Beach. We're talking also about Laguna, Newport Beach, Westminster, the Fountain Valley area, Aliso Viejo, Newport Coastline, the San Joaquin Hills, the John Wayne Airport, Crystal Cove State Park, as well as Sunset Beach. So once again, we are taking a look at a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 1 o'clock. Don't go near your windows if you live in this area. Lightning and thunder can be very, very dangerous, and we expect to see a lot more of it throughout the remainder of the afternoon. Glenn, Lou, this is a big storm system. It's not over yet. This is storm number 2. We will talk about storm number 3 coming up in the extended forecast.
Kai, thank you. You warned us, and it showed up, and it's only number 2. Thank you so much for those updates.
Yeah, more to come. We're told now that the parade's about an hour late. As you see the vehicles at this point not moving. Matt Klink and I just kind of making a joke that maybe this might have something to do with the transition back to the White House, moving the Obamas,
oh no,
moving their stuff out, moving the Trump stuff in. Maybe they're a little behind. Says, slow that parade down. We're not going to have this ready in time.
As we say in TV, stretch.
Take your time.
Some of those notes I was looking at in the last few days. So many interesting things when presidents do come into the White House. They have requests, right? Obama wanted a shower head. He wanted a specific shower head, which was kind of a big deal for a lot of people. Clinton wanted a hot tub. Bill Clinton had the hot tub, Nixon had the bowling alley, and Jimmy Carter put up controversial solar panels. They were controversial then, and then ripped out by Ronald Reagan, and then put back in by Barack Obama.
Well, and LBJ had a shower that blasted jets from all directions at him.
Presidents like showers.
Yeah. All right, joining us on the phone right now is Congresswoman Mimi Walters from the 25th District, encompassing a lot of the towns in Orange County. Congresswoman Walters, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thanks for you joining us here on KTLA 5. So, talk about Inauguration Day. What are your thoughts? Weather was, a little bit of rain, but it looks like everything's going okay.
It's been a fantastic day. We've had lots of constituents in town. People are very excited. I think President Trump gave an inspiring speech, relayed to the American people. He will give the power back to them. And it's just been really, really special.
Congresswoman Walters, Lou Parker here. What are you most excited about this new administration?
I am excited that we are going to work together to implement reforms for our tax code and our health care laws that will grow our economy and will provide relief for American families and small businesses. The president is ready to get to work. He's got a united Republican Congress that is ready to work with him. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and I am just really eager to make some changes and to get America moving in the right direction.
You know, you've served for quite a while. President Trump has never served in a government position. What do you think will be the most difficult part for him in these beginning weeks?
I think the president has assembled a terrific cabinet, a very experienced cabinet. His vice president, Mr. Pence, is very experienced. And from what I understand is he will be relying on a lot of their expertise to help guide him in the next 100 days in getting some work accomplished. And I am very pleased with the team he has put together because they're extremely well respected. And I think he will learn very quickly, and I think we will accomplish a lot in the next 100 days.
I want to make a quick correction. I said you're from the 25th District in California. It's actually the 45th District. Getting back to the president, when he first announced that he was running, was not your typical Republican. Were you initially a supporter or were you a skeptic? And how have you seen him change? And how has your thinking about him changed now that he's been elected president?
When he first announced he was running, I was surprised, somewhat surprised, because I had been in office for a while and I had some relationships with some of the other candidates who were running. And so initially I was not on board, but of course, once he won the nomination, I definitely put all my support behind him. I had always said to the people of my district that I would support the nominee of the Republican Party. I think that he has surprised many people. I think he had the pulse of the American public more so than many people, and that's the reason he got elected. I think he's really gone to the heart of America and understands the frustration so many people have had over the last 8 years, and he really has connected with them, and his message has resonated with them. And I am very excited that he is our president, and I'm eager to get working with him.
So, as part of what changed your mind, I mean, you're from a conservative district. There's not a lot of them here in the state of California, frankly. The times you went home, what were you hearing from your constituents about Donald Trump during the campaign leading up to the election?
From my constituents, I was hearing that they liked what they heard when he said that he wanted to create more jobs and he wanted to have more jobs in America. He wanted to bring jobs back to America. And that was one of the messages that resonated with a lot of his supporters in my district. They also have been very frustrated with the healthcare system. And his talk about, wanting to rescue and rebuild our healthcare system is something that has been resonating with them as well. And I think ultimately people are going to be very pleased when they see the results.
Well, let's talk about the healthcare system. That's supposedly one of the first orders of business. Critics say the Republicans don't have a plan to replace Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the Republicans actually do have a plan, and we've already passed a framework for repealing Obamacare and moving forward on it. And we're going to go through a transition period where we're going to rebuild our health care system, and we're going to rebuild it piece by piece. you'll see that we will keep the fact that people, if they have pre-existing conditions, they will be able to keep their insurance or change insurance and keep, even if they have a pre-existing condition. If people have children who are under the age of 26 years old and they want to keep them on their health insurance, they will keep them on their health insurance. We are going to have insurance companies compete over state lines, so that will bring down the cost of the premiums and bring down the cost of deductibles. It will make it more competitive, and it will be a system which is more patient-centered.
All right, Congresswoman Mimi Walters from the 45th Congressional District here in California, down in Orange County. We thank you for joining us today. I'm sure at this point you probably need to head over home and get ready for one of those inaugural balls tonight.
Oh, there's many balls going on tonight. It's going to be a fantastic evening.
All right, well, have fun and be safe.
Okay, thanks so much.
And here in Southern California, we actually have some dangerous weather conditions to talk about right now. Kai Goldberg is joining us here in the studio, and he's been covering and monitoring all the rains and thunderstorms.
Yeah, thanks very much, Lou. We told you just a couple of minutes ago that we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's taking place in most of the Orange County area. We're talking about Irvine all the way through Rancho Santa Margarita out to some of the coastal areas, especially out near two harbors, so we're worried about that. But I do want to show you what's going on in terms of the radar. We are looking at your 5 Live Max Doppler, and we are indeed showing you, once as we get started here, that this is the area where we're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning. We're talking right there in the center of your screen. You can see it is outlined in green from Santa Ana to Mission Viejo out to the coast in San Clemente. They're starting to see some more of that wet weather as well. I'm going to pull back and you'll see the scope of what is taking place here in Southern California this afternoon. As we look down the middle there into your 5 Live Max Doppler, you can see all the areas that are right now outlined in red, and these are flash flood warnings. So we're taking a look at a lot of heavy rainfall continuing to move through Southern California at this very moment. So dangerous conditions all across the Southland. We're also talking about a good deal of snowfall in our local mountains as we zoom first and forward right on into the Wrightwood area. As you can see, we've got heavy rainfall throughout the foothills near Glendora, out towards Arcadia, the Duarte area, and that is one thing that is a cause for concern because the Duarte area did have that severe fire, that brush fire, and we refer to that as a burn-scarred area. So we're continuing to take a look to see if there's any possibilities of any mudslides or debris flows. Then we'll make our way out east into San Bernardino County, and look at this, folks. A lot of snow continuing to fall from Running Springs into Lake Arrowhead out to the Big Bear Lake area. You can see we're looking at more rain continuing to push in towards Corona. That rain will continue to move in a northeasterly direction out towards Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga as we continue to slide the 5 Live Max Doppler back into Orange County. We're looking right now in towards Fullerton, Anaheim, Santa Ana, the city of Orange, Yorba Linda, Cerritos, Westminster, and then we'll take a look offshore. This is very interesting right now. This could develop into what we refer to as a water spout just off of Huntington Beach as well as Seal Beach. We're looking at this cell really opening up, and we're seeing a little bit of rotation, as you can see what we call a hook echo in the weather department. We're looking at that possibly taking place. We have no confirmation of that at all, but this is one of the dangers of a severe storm like this that is taking place currently at this hour here in Southern California, and this is storm number 2. Storm number 3 is on the way as we make our way into your Sunday night and Monday forecast. We've got a lot to talk about and some very important matters up on the board for you to take a look at. The California Incline in Santa Monica, it has just been remodeled, repaved. Well, that California Incline is now closed. They're looking at possibility of some mud and debris flow taking place there throughout the California Incline. Also very famous, the Sepulveda Catch Basin. Well, that is now in jeopardy of some flooding. That is typical, and that's why it has been built there in the San Fernando Valley to handle so much water. So Burbank Boulevard that runs through the Sepulveda Catch Basin most likely flooded out right now. We'll continue to update you on that as information comes into our newsroom. Once again, flash flood watches here in Southern California through 6 o'clock tonight for this storm number 2, and we have a lot of thunderstorms, and once again We showed you those flash flood warnings that are taking place throughout Southern California as we take indeed a look at those areas. These are the flash flood warnings right there. You can see them taking place throughout Ventura County, the Santa Paula area, all the way out towards Oxnard, Thousand Oaks, the Simi Valley involved in that on the left-hand side of your screen. We'll make our way into the northern portions of the San Fernando Valley, just south of Santa Clarita. We're talking about La Tuna Canyon, all the way along the 210 as well as the 5 freeway. That's split as it takes you up again into the 14. That's the Canyon Country area as another cell moves towards Acton. We'll take a look up towards Kern County from Frazier Park all the way up towards Tehachapi. And then you can see just above the foothills of West Covina as we take a look along that Cajon Pass, making our way up in towards the Apple Valley. Victorville, a little bit further, they're seeing a cell, but again, the area we're talking about is just above West Covina. They are also under a flash flood warning until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So Glenn Lou, obviously a lot going on with this storm here in Southern California, and we will continue to see the rain, the thunderstorms for the remainder of the afternoon. I'll be back in a few minutes with your extended forecast.
Kai, thank you so much. And of course, we have team coverage on this weather, dangerous weather here in Southern California. In fact, some of our reporters who are out in the field have had to put down what we call the mast on the live truck due to lightning and heavy rains. People have had to relocate. Aaron Myers, you're in Duarte. What's the situation out there? Have you guys had to, I guess, avoid some of the lightning and thunderstorms as well?
Lou, where we are right now, actually, the concern here is flooding. You can take a look here behind me, the hillside. Water, mud, big rocks have been coming down the hillside now. This all just really happened in the last half an hour or so when the rain was really hitting this area hard. So strong, they actually moved those K-rails down the way, and the mud has been making its way down here on Mel Canyon Road. This area is now blocked off. Mel Canyon is closed from Brook Ridge to Fish Canyon right now, and there is this flash flood warning in place until 3:15. They actually do want us to move our news vans down farther because they are a little bit afraid of what could happen with all of this mud and rocks and other debris coming here. Now, fortunately, the K-rails have been blocking most of the homes fairly well so far, but the rain most likely not done. We still have a couple more hours here in this area. They are expecting from about 10 to 4. That would be the strongest rain here. Now, besides the K-rails, we've been seeing sandbags, and they do have crews out here. We've seen Public Works, the fire department has been out here. They are on alert, and we do know the school down the street, they are in session right now at 2 o'clock. Kids will be picked up, and parents have been made aware of special pickup instructions for them. But the main concern now is the flash flooding. We do know Duarte's Emergency Operations Center has been activated, and as I said, they've been out here monitoring this situation. And the streets, they will clear them once everything calms down, but as the rain most likely has not stopped, the main concern here is the flash flooding, the mudslides, and keeping everyone safe. So people in this area should either shelter in place, we're told, or they should, if they have a vehicle in another area, they can actually just get out of the area for now. But once again, you can see it is slowly calming down here now, but just some heavy mud flow, heavy water flow coming down Mel Canyon Road. So you are going to want to stay away from this area for the time being. In Duarte, I'm Aaron Myers. I'll send it back to you.
Aaron, thank you for those important updates. We appreciate it.
So we've got, of course, our weather situation here, which is as predicted and forecast by Kai and a few other people, that it's going to be pretty bad today. And of course, we've now have the inauguration parade taking place in the nation's capital. We are keeping an eye on both situation, and we are now joining us now on the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker, along with Lou Parker, and we're going to get right back over to Kai Goldberg because the weather here pretty bad right now.
Yeah, this is dangerous, and this is what we often talk about here on KTLA. We tell our viewers, especially in these burn-scarred areas where indeed we did see that brush fire taking place. This is in the Duarte area. We're basically focused in, as you can see, this flash flood warning in place until 3:15 this afternoon, covering the foothill sections of the San Gabriel Valley from Duarte. You can see that on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, down into the foothills of Azusa, all the way out towards Glendora. These areas, the canyons, very steep, holding a lot of water, a lot of moisture. So we're looking at rainfall rates of up to an inch to an inch and a half of rain per hour. And as we take a look at your 5 Live Max Doppler, we have circled that particular area where we are indeed again looking at that flash flood warning. That cell now moving into the northeastern quadrant of that flash flood warning area there in the San Gabriels. But we have a cell behind that one as well that could bring a little bit more wet weather. As we pull out, we take a look just off to the west as we're seeing a bit of a break in the action. However, we've got another flash flood warning, and this one has been up right now for about 20 to 25 minutes. You can see that it extends from the northern edge of the San Fernando Valley as we take a look up towards Santa Clarita, then up the 14 freeway as we make our way up to Acton as well as the Antelope Valley. This again is a burn-scarred area where we were looking at the possibility for some flooding as well as mud flow and debris flow. So some very dangerous conditions going on right now as the bulk of the energy of this storm system continues to make its way here into Southern California. And not just the flash flood warnings, but we've got a lot of heavy rain that's now beginning to fall up into some of our high desert communities. You can see we will take our way up the 15 as we head up towards Victorville, the Apple Valley. There's Hesperia coming into view right now. This is a lot of heavy rainfall that is also plaguing the high desert regions. And then, of course, we've got that wet weather, the rainfall, as it makes its way up into the higher elevations, turning into a lot of heavy snow right now. So dangerous driving conditions as we make our way up into the Wrightwood area. Then we'll take that 5 Live Max Doppler as we make our way out towards Running Springs, Lake Arrowhead, Big Bear. Yesterday, Big Bear picking up 5 inches of snow in the matter of just a few hours overnight, adding to that, putting on another foot to a foot and a half of snow. And by the time we make our way into the snowfall totals tonight, I'm certain they'll see probably another foot, maybe even 2 feet. And we will also continue to monitor the Fraser Park area, which is important because we're looking at snow showers there. That is, of course, the Grapevine, and the Grapevine could become jeopardized as we make our way through portions of the afternoon and evening forecast as we take a look at what is basically a winter storm warning. And that winter storm warning, as you can see here on your screen, in place until we get to about 9 a.m. tomorrow on Saturday morning. So once again, we'll take you back to the flash flood warning taking place throughout the foothills of the San Gabriel Mountains. This is very dangerous. If you have friends or family in this area, it means that flooding is happening and it is imminent. Glenn and Lou will take it back to you.
Thank you for that. You see the weather we've got on the right side of the screen, on the left side of the screen, the inauguration parade taking place in Washington, D.C. Everything along the parade route at this point looking pretty normal.
Yes.
However,
well, the rain is not as bad as they had expected, which is great. This has been going on for about 20 minutes, and it was an hour late, actually. And our very own Eric Spillman is on the parade route. And Eric, I bet the young man that was next to you is happy finally now.
He has. We've had a couple of military bands come by, and now as we watch, there are U.S. Supreme Court justices apparently about to come through here in Mos, and the crowd is excited. The rain has stopped momentarily, and so everybody's happy about that. The parade a little bit late, but it's happening, and folks, of course, anticipating the arrival of President Trump here soon. I want to talk to somebody who we just happened to run into here as we watch the parade, and it is the former governor of Arizona. Her name is Jan Brewer. You may remember her. She was one of the earliest Trump supporters. What do you think?
I think this is absolutely fabulous. And here he is, the next president of the United States of America. He's going to make a difference for us, the people.
What did you think of his speech?
I thought it was absolutely awesome. I think it was straightforward, and he believes in the rule of law, and he's going to bring back America. And I'll be thankful that I can say thank you, Mr. President.
Anything in particular he said that struck you?
Well, I think it's real important that in his speech, he said that it was the people, that he was going to enforce the laws, and that he was going to bring jobs back to America, and he's going to reduce taxes, and it's for the people.
Immigration was a big issue for you when you were governor.
Illegal immigration was a big issue. You know, Arizona has been, of course, the the gate for all the illegal immigration. Along with that came a lot of criminal.
Do you expect to see immediate changes?
I sure hope so. I think we'll have a president that understands that it's the federal job to protect us and to secure our borders, and that's what I'm counting on. I've worked with the transition team on the border, and I will continue to do that. And I hope that today that he maybe does something with an executive order that might change the direction in which we're dealing with this issue that we've been dealing with for years.
Thank you so much for talking to us. Former Governor of Arizona, Jan Brewer. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Continues. Now, I'm a little confused because they're saying Supreme Court justices in the front vehicle, but I assume President Trump was in the lead vehicle.
Well, I think passing Eric at that point, possibly, it may be a little confusing there. If you're just joining us, we are watching this parade, a tradition that started a long time ago to celebrate the new president and vice president and the new administration. So 7,000 spots for this parade did not require tickets. So basically, the public was allowed to watch it without having to buy a ticket. Then some tickets were sold that would obviously be more a little closer to the action.
Great to be in one of those buildings up high looking down, but I imagine the security sweep or something like that, Peter and Matt, would have to be quite extensive.
It
Very
is.
extensive, definitely.
Yeah, it is. What they do is they set a deadline and they clear everybody out, they sweep the buildings, and then they set up a perimeter so that anybody then who needs to go back into those buildings is screened and is clean. But there are some really beautiful properties that are along Pennsylvania Avenue that people live in that I've been to some great parties up there.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, I have wanted to get your opinion on the guy, Charles Brotman, the one who was the announcer. He's 89 years old. He's been an announcer since 1957 when Dwight Eisenhower was president. He was the announcer, and this year they sent him an email and said his services were not needed. Is that any particular, did you guys know about that?
Yeah, I'm familiar about it. In fact, one of my sons brought it up to me. It appears that the situation wasn't handled as smoothly. He's the institutional memory for the parade. He had been the announcer, and he got an email saying, thanks, but your services are no longer required, Lou, as you just mentioned. I don't know why nobody said anything about it, but certainly one of those situations that probably could have been handled a little bit better.
Yeah, he said he was devastated. I feel so bad. He's 89 years old, but he, you know, took it as well as someone could and passed it on to whoever is announcing today for the Trump parade.
All right, let's go to Diane Gallagher back in Washington. She's watching the parade. Diane, how's the mood around you there? We've seen the protests on some of the other streets, but it looks like some pretty happy folks around here.
Yeah, they're happy. They're a little wet here because it has been raining. I can tell you that we're in front of the White House here, so this is sort of where things end. You can see the nice VIP box behind me. They're covered, but just to the right and left of those are risers of people with their ponchos on, sitting out here, staying loyal, trying to make the best of a rainy situation. We have heard them cheer a couple times as some dignitaries, some elected officials come by, but the parade has not quite made its way this far just yet. I can tell you that when I was going out to the trailer area where the media is, I heard a bunch of shouting and I heard a bunch of cheering and yelling. I thought it was a parade coming, but it was actually a protest just a little bit over from us. So they're very close. We haven't experienced any sort of violent issues, any sort of vandalism issues on the National Mall here in the Lafayette Park area. But of course, as you guys have seen, that is happening a few blocks away.
Well, judging from what I can see with some of the protest signs we're showing, you know, there's people right there on the parade route. They're not fans of Donald Trump or President Trump.
No, and you know, Homeland Security said they were expecting anywhere between 700 to 900,000 people here. Of course, they are prepared. 28,000 law enforcement officials are ready to take this on. The attendance appears to be just visually far smaller than, say, 2009 with Barack Obama. So they've dealt with much larger crowds. But because of the contentious nature of this election, obviously it does present some difficulties. We saw the D.C. police dealing with it earlier earlier. Nearly 100 people arrested. They've had to use pepper spray and other forms of control. But, you know, again, the rain doesn't help either. The rain can make it a hard situation to sit out here, but it can also clear crowds. So the police may not be too upset that it's been sprinkling.
Diane, we were talking earlier here on the desk just about the historical aspect of this parade. And Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, back in '77, broke protocol and got out of his vehicle and walked during this parade. Will Trump do that?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people are hoping and expecting him to. The rain may deter it. We know that he's very proud of his very coiffed hair, but maybe he will. I mean, Donald Trump has said, in fact, actually, listen, it sounds like Donald Trump is on his way here, has yet to get out of his vehicle, but he talked a lot during his speech about being a man of the people, doing this for the people. Well, the people here want to see him get out of that car and walk. They'd like to see the president, not just him from a window. Again, so far, nothing yet, but we are hearing the announcer say that he is going to be approaching here pretty quickly. So it's something they've been looking forward to, waiting. Again, we have a little bit of a dry period right now. The rain has just stopped, but they're drenched. They've been sitting out here for a while. Hopefully the president gets out, at least waves, maybe goes, I don't know, kiss a baby or something. It has become a little bit like tradition.
Diane, has it been, I know it's 47-ish degrees there, pretty chilly. Has it been, when it rains, is it heavy rain or is it just light sprinkles?
No, we've had a couple points during the day where we've had some steady rain, but nothing too bad. No deluge of rain, no thunderstorms. I can tell you it's very damp, and it feels a lot colder than it actually is because of the wind and the rain. And so if you're somebody sitting out here with your children, especially because earlier in the day it did not feel so cold, I imagine you probably don't feel so great right now. It might be a little miserable, but there are, again, some troopers. You saw the crowds that he had during the campaign season. We've seen a lot of people here who actually attended some of those Donald Trump rallies. They wanted to come and sort of see through their victory, something that they were really proud of and excited about. And again, you can probably hear the parade approaching this way right now. We're hoping, again, crossing our fingers, that the 45th president of the United States, and now he is, he's getting out of the car at this very moment. This is exactly what they're looking for. You can hear them shouting. You can hear them shouting Trump at this moment. I hope you guys are seeing these photos as the 45th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, is now in step with Jimmy Carter and those who followed and getting out of his vehicle, greeting the people, waving to people. We'll see how far he goes and how far Secret Service lets him go toward them. But he's there, it looks like, with his son Barron walking alongside of him. Melania out there walking. You have to give her props for walking in those heels as well down the road. But this is something, you can hear the crowd's response to that. There are a lot of protesters here, and a lot of them are on this parade route. But as the closer we get to the White House, you can hear just the number of supporters who did show up to celebrate the inauguration of Donald Trump. Again, walking side by side with the new First Lady, Melania Trump, their son Barron just behind them, and the crowd is absolutely eating this up.
Well, he is walking with his family, but he's got a lot of security around him.
Yes, he does.
A lot of security. Might actually be kind of hard for people to see him.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a double row of Secret Service plus then a double row of fencing on each side of the parade route, so no one's getting anywhere near him unless he wants them there.
Yeah.
It's almost something that you would expect the president to do, is to get out of the limo and to be able to walk the streets. But, you know, with so much that has been going on in our country and our world, has to be at the back of their minds, the back of the family's minds, also security. So this is very brave of them in their own right. But then at the same time, as we always say, when issues happen, we just have to keep going on with our regular life, right? Not that they have a regular life anymore.
Well, look at the men and women on the Secret Service are probably freaking out at the fact that he's doing this, but they're also ready for the challenge.
Yeah.
Well, like we said earlier, this may have been choreographed. At a certain point, they were going to get out and start walking, I would think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there is no impromptu for something like this.
Yeah.
I'm sure they selected the corner where he was going to walk. It's a pretty cool picture to see him walking down the street.
Any significance to the certain spot where they stopped at all?
No, it's just looks like it's about midway between the house and the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue. So it's just a great view.
I'm sure Melania whispered to him, please do not walk too quickly because my heels, all women can appreciate. She's on unsteady ground there on the street in those heels. So looks like they did a good job together.
I want to say the symbolism of him actually walking is very, very important because of his campaign theme and the fact that he's saying, I'm going to bring back government to the people. You know,
Yes.
I'm right here with you.
Yes.
That's very important we did. Not all presidents have done that, have they? Since Jimmy
Yes.
Carter.
Right.
So I think it's important.
And again, the weather cooperating there in Washington, as Diane Gallagher mentioned, it at times has sprinkled, at times it's poured or rained pretty strongly there, but chilly as expected in D.C. this time of year. Beautiful shot there.
Interesting, the building you're seeing there in the front, that is the former post office, which is now the hotel that Trump's business renovated, which is now open for business, just, you know, very close to the White House.
Very close, and it still maintains the charm of an original post office building with steel girders in it, but then it's got these very opulent crystal chandeliers in it as well. So it's a really neat mix of the old historical aspects of the old post office, plus the accoutrements that you would expect in a Trump hotel.
I love that word.
Accoutrements?
Yes. Try to spell it.
No.
You know, one thing I heard today too, and I can't remember who said it, it was early this morning, our time, like 7 o'clock, and he basically said that this is not a celebration of victory, this is a celebration of democracy for this day, no matter who you are, what you believe, if you're disappointed or if you're happy.
Look at the staff.
Yeah, this
the staff at the Trump International Hotel.
Yeah. It's a celebration of America and what we stand for, that we all come together. And I think that's, and more importantly than a lot of things that we've said today, this is a day in history, no matter what. It's historic, and it's, you know, I was looking forward to be able to be a part of it, because no matter where you are or what you think, and it's history.
And especially after the divisive campaign that left the country so inflamed, you know, and I think this is very important to bring unity back again, even through symbolism. It's very important for the country.
Yes. The people need to see that.
Well, because you know the transition for a lot of places, especially third world countries, they're not like this. They don't have a peaceful transition. It's always a bloody transition.
Right on Gambia. The president won't step down. There's a civil war brewing over there. You're right.
All right, well, if you're just joining us, we are continuing our live coverage of Inauguration Day. We've been on air, not this particular team, but KTLA and our team of workers and producers and writers and people behind the camera since 4 a.m. today. We've got team coverage not only in Washington, D.C., but also here in Southern California, where we have some serious rain conditions happening, some thunderstorms and flash flood warnings and watches. Kai Goldberg has been monitoring that. Kai, you want to give us a little bit of an update?
Yeah, thanks very much, Lou. Glenn, good afternoon, everybody. A lot to talk about here, so bear with me. We will start you off with a wide view with the 5 Live Max Doppler. You can see the energy, most of the basic core of that cold front now rolling through Orange County, now pushing into San Bernardino and Riverside County. But what it is also doing is leaving behind a lot of severe weather as well. Take a look. I'm going to walk you through this. We've got a lot of flash flood warnings, which I will start you off with first and foremost. Right into the watch box we go. You can see this area throughout the Santa Clarita Valley, the northernmost portions of the San Fernando Valley, as we take a look along the 14 as we head out towards Acton and Canyon Country. Again, this is a flash flood warning. It is in place for about another 45 minutes. We're seeing a lot of rain falling in that area, and when I do talk about a flash flood warning, that means flooding is taking place. It is dangerous. It is imminent right now. This is the one that concerns many of us. This is a flash flood warning as well, taking place in the burn-scarred area just above Duarte. Now, we're talking also about copious amounts of rainfall, anywhere from 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain per hour, possibly up to 2 inches. And we're not just talking about the Duarte area. There are many flash flood warnings affecting many burn-scarred areas, one of those being the Sand Fire, the Sage Fire, the Calgrove burn areas. So Doppler radar indicating that these heavy bands of rain rain are continuing to push in an easterly direction over these warning areas. Thunderstorms are definitely happening this afternoon, and not in these just in these burn-scarred areas, but also as we take a look out towards Orange County as well. We are looking into Orange County, and that's interesting and also very dangerous because we're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning taking place there, and this is a very wide area. You can see it extends from Santa Ana to the northwesterly direction throughout Mission Viejo all the way out towards Rancho Santa Margarita on the far southeastern edges of Orange County. You can see the thunderstorms continue to make their way through Orange County, heading in a northeasterly direction as they push into the Santa Ana mountain range. We've got another severe thunderstorm warning as we head out towards the Cajon Pass. You can see it is outlined in green here on your screen as we look in the foothills above Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, San Bernardino. Thunderstorms, lightning taking place. This is a cell that continues to open up just to the west of Rancho Cucamonga, right through Upland right now, just north of Ontario along the 66. And I can assure you that that cell will continue to march towards Rancho Cucamonga and make its way towards the 210 near the San Antonio Heights area. We'll take a look a little bit further to the south and towards Riverside County as well. This also a part of the severe thunderstorm warning that's taking place as we're looking at more cells that continue to surround Riverside. The one to the west, just over Mira Loma right now, that will slowly be making its way in towards the Rubidoux area over the next few minutes. So again, a lot going on. Then we'll even take a look out towards the coast, and we've got dangers of coastal flooding taking place along the beach communities here in Santa Monica, the Santa Monica Bay, all the way out towards Rancho Palos Verdes and Long Beach. And you can see the pink just offshore. That indicates a small craft advisory. So boaters, this is not the day for you. We're talking about high surf warnings with basically surf and breakers going up to 15 and 20 feet in height. So some dangerous conditions there. And we're also going to wrap it up, Glenn and Lou, with a look at the mountain communities. There's Big Bear looking at a heavy cell pushing through Yucaipa, and as course of that, as that cell continues to climb up the mountain, it turns into snow, and they certainly are seeing a lot of snowfall up in our Southern California mountains this afternoon. So a lot going on. Stick with me. I'll be here for the remainder of the afternoon and evening. Guys, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kai. I didn't actually see it, but hearing from one of our producers that Donald Trump actually stepped out of the limo again, and it just happened to be right in front of the Trump International Hotel. Nice photo op. I'm sure there will be some controversy surrounding that photograph.
Well, this is the parade that has been going on now for a little over 30 minutes. It was an hour late, but looks like it's on its way, moving smoothly. As Glenn just mentioned, if you missed it, new President Donald Trump and Melania and their son got out and walked for what, 100 yards or so, and waving to everyone, and got back in the limo. And they will stop eventually and get into a position where they can preview and see the parade. 8,000 participants in this parade today. The rain has subsided a little bit here for everyone who's probably traveled from all over the country. I was looking at some of the participants and groups that are a part of this parade. They're coming from pretty much every single state: Colorado, New York, Texas, Tennessee, New York. Some high school students even being able to perform and march in this parade must be so special for them, especially at that young age. Millennials starting to understand what government is and democracy, and again, depending on where you're from and what your views are, just to be able to be a part of history for those young students is probably really special for them and for their parents.
What is the cutoff age for millennials? As you know, is it 35?
I think maybe a
30.
little.
30,
yeah, I'm
30,
thinking
yeah.
younger
Okay.
even. Yeah.
Because I was, was talking to Matt earlier. I want to get your thoughts from the two of you. Donald Trump ran a very unconventional campaign that worked for him. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, big part of the campaign is going to be, one of his advisors at the White House. He and Donald Trump's daughter will be moving to the nation's capital. He came up with some other fellow came up with this very unique research plan that basically targeted particular audiences at particular times. What do you know about that?
No, it's fascinating. So Jared Kushner does not do a lot of public interviews, but he talked to Forbes about it. And basically what he did is he used some knowledge acquired from some friends in Silicon Valley, and they roughly sent out 100,000 different emails and ads a day. And the information that they received back from those ads through a combination of micro-targeting and machine learning then directed everything that the campaign did. So they were learning as the campaign went on. Every election we see quantum leaps from a technology standpoint. You saw it with Howard Dean when he ran, and then you saw the Bush team when Bush in Ohio, they used Karl Rove and his team really used micro-targeting. Barack Obama ramped that up. Now, on the flip side, Hillary Clinton had something called the Ada, which was their computer that simulated hundreds of campaigns a day. Clearly, it didn't work very well given the results of the election. But Mr. Kushner's system was very effective, and digital is the future. It's the way that things are going.
Yeah, Peter, you agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with it, and I believe the micro-targeting is where this whole thing is going, because you have to find out who your voters are in order to give them the right message. It also reduces democracy in a sense, because I believe to have a good democracy, you have to have real options of people and leaders who believe in something and ideas, and then have a competing set of ideas, rather than just trying to find the voters that'll vote for you. You need to put out your ideas and see if the voters want you or not. That's a traditional democracy. It's becoming more high-tech now, and I say in my book, we've taken the heart and soul of politics out and brought in the mechanics of it only.
Well, but it's more sophisticated, I believe, than that, though, because what micro-targeting does, it allows my candidate to send the message that will impact the person receiving it the most. So it's a funnel that guarantees that the person gets the most impactful message, rather than one side, my campaign platform versus your campaign platform. It's very targeted and specific to encourage and motivate you to vote for me.
Well, it's like when you're shopping on Amazon
it's Madison Avenue taking
yes,
exactly.
on
yes,
Amazon
and you
too.
get the dress similar to the dress that you bought last week, right?
So what does that do to our democracy? That's a real question in the end, because now you're just selling a product and narrowing down your market. So we have to talk.
We're going to talk about weather for a second, but Peter, I would love to talk to you as well. You're a professor. I'd love to find out what your students have been thinking about this. And
sure.
Yeah. Let's go out to, we mentioned all this crazy weather. Let's go out to Alina Bovey, and she's at Seal Beach. Alina, you were having issues with thunderstorms earlier. What's the situation out there now?
Very hard out here, but right now there is actually a pretty nice break in the clouds. Take a look. You can see it is still very windy. However, right now these very dangerous surf conditions, these waves, they could reach 15 feet today. They are just pounding against the Seal Beach Pier. And surprisingly, we do have some people out here this afternoon. Many people telling us they just wanted to come out to see these waves. The pier is still open right now. However, if these conditions get worse, lifeguards may close it down. For now, they're just advising people stay out of the water, off the rocks, off the jetties. And over this way, I want to show you guys these 15-foot berms up right now. If these waves happen to get too strong and break these berms, the Orange County Fire Authority has bulldozers on standby. Seal Beach also has extra lifeguards on duty. Now, it might look nice right now out here at the moment, but keep in mind the ground is very saturated from the from the first storm and from the rain overnight. Residents in our beach community should be ready for possible flooding and erosion. According to the National Weather Service, there is also a chance of thunderstorms and winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. We are definitely feeling these winds right now. I can honestly tell you, I feel like my hat might actually come off because the wind, it's very strong this afternoon. And if you are planning on coming out, taking in the break right now, do that, but just have an umbrella handy because you never know. This rain, it could come back any minute. Back to you guys.
All right, Alina, be careful.
All right, well, we see the limo doors are opening once more. But let's get over to Kai because he's got some road closures to tell us about.
Yeah, thanks very much, Glenn Lou. What we're dealing with right now is the Malibu area canyon roads right now are closed. So what's going on there through Malibu Canyon all the way up towards the Mulholland area and out towards Canaan Dune, we're looking at basically those roads experiencing debris flow as well as some mudslides that are taking place. So the California Highway Patrol that often makes its way up into those Santa Monica Mountain areas in the Malibu area are basically telling folks not to go through there right now. It's just a little bit too treacherous. That often happens. A lot of us drive through Malibu Canyon, through Canyon Dune, and those rocks, even in dry conditions, seem to slide down the hillsides, and they're doing it a lot more this afternoon because Malibu and the Santa Monica Mountains seeing a lot of wet weather rolling on through. You folks are taking a look, a wide view at your 5 Live Max Doppler. I'm going to pull out so you can see the bulk of the front now moving further east in towards the basically eastern sections of Orange County, all the way in towards Riverside, as well as San Bernardino County right now. But we still are under a flash flood watch until about 6 p.m. tonight. Let's take a look at some of the hot spots. We'll focus first and foremost in on the Yucaipa area. And not only are we seeing a lot of rain falling in that Yucaipa area, but as we make our way up to 38, also the 330 into Running Springs, also up in the way to Big Bear Lake, we're looking at a lot of snow that's continuing to fall. Then we'll take a look out towards that Cajon Pass. Dangerous conditions as another cell starts to move into the 15 as you head up towards the Keenbrook area. Then we'll also look towards the foothills just above Rancho Cucamonga, as well as Fontana. This is also another area where we're seeing a lot of heavy rain continuing to come out of the sky. We're looking at more snow falling into the Wrightwood area right now, and we're also holding a lot of concern out for the burn-scarred areas, especially in the areas above Duarte right now, where we are under a flash flood warning. Take a look at that flash flood warning in place for just a little bit over 2.5 hours from now until about 3:15 p.m. You can see that flash flood warning. That area, it had a major brush fire just a few months ago, so a lot of that ground is very, very loose in that area. And we're not just talking about the rain, we're also talking about snow. I showed you some of the snow continuing to fall. Therefore, winter storm warning. This will stay in place until 9 a.m. tomorrow, Saturday morning, for all the mountain communities here in Southern California. Gusty winds continue to plague most of the coastal sections, so we will see a wind advisory along the Ventura, Santa Barbara, Los Angeles County coastline until tomorrow morning. A little bit further inland, the San Bernardino, Riverside County, Orange County areas, especially the valleys and foothills, looking at a high wind warning through tonight at about 10 p.m. And I talked to you a little bit about that high surf. We've shown you some of the video coming in right now, especially where Alina Bovian is. We're looking at breakers anywhere from 15, 18, and 20 feet. And the further north you go up in towards Santa Barbara County, they're looking at some of those breakers right now, basically up to about 20 and 22 feet. And I just got word in from our newsroom that Pacific Coast Highway at Sunset Boulevard is now closed as well. That could be a combination, and it isn't closed in both directions. That could be a combination of both high surf, coastal flooding, as well as, again, a lot of debris flow that's taking place. Once again, that is the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway. You know it well. That's where the famous Gladstone's restaurant is right there. So what we're dealing with is a lot of dangerous conditions in terms of driving here around Southern California. Let's take a look at what's going on right now as we take a look at the information on the right-hand side of your screen. The California Incline in Santa Monica is right now closed. Remember, it had been remodeled just a few months ago and reopened. They have now decided to close that California Incline. The Sepulveda Catch Basin in the San Fernando Valley is in jeopardy of being flooded. Flooding often does occur there, and actually it was built to handle all the water and the runoff that occurs there in the San Fernando Valley, so it is indeed doing its job. Burbank Boulevard there in the Sepulveda Catch Basin, that is the normal way you go from the east to west or west to east. That typically floods out, and indeed that's what's taking place right now. And all Malibu Canyon area roads, well, as I told you as we began this quick weather segment, are closed right now. And once again, a reminder that our flash flood watches are in place through about 6 p.m. tonight. So Glenn Liu, a lot going on. We'll talk about the third storm coming our way in just a few minutes from now.
Kai, thank you.
All right, this parade continues to move along. We saw the president and his family exiting out of the vehicles once again, as well as his extended family. Mm-hmm. We've got our two experts here with us. Don't even know what to ask, to be honest, at this point. How much, what do you guys, anything come to your mind you guys would like to talk about?
I just got to think that it's a combination of, you're running on a day filled with adrenaline. Yeah. And I've got to imagine that getting in that limo and relaxing, I'm sure the heat is cranked up to keep them warm. there's got to be a little bit of a letdown, and then you've got to go back in and make yourself look all gussied up for the balls today. I mean, let's not forget, Bill Clinton, I think, holds the record. He went to something like 12 inaugural balls, which is not a surprise. Trump is really limiting his exposure, but it's got to be a day where you get really amped up, and then you have a letdown, and then you get really, I mean, it's at the end of the day, they will all sleep soundly tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but then they have to get back up early. At least Trump and Melania, President Trump and First Lady Melania, have to get up tomorrow morning for the prayer service. Peter, let's talk. We had mentioned earlier, you're a professor, and we were talking about millennials, and Matt was talking about the message that they directly got during this campaign. What are your students saying, and how did they feel about this election and now today?
My students were very engaged with the election, either for Trump or for most of them for Bernie Sanders in the primary and then Hillary during the general election. But some of those students switched over and they voted for Trump, because they felt that Hillary didn't address their needs for jobs in the future and education costs. But I'll tell you one thing, there's going to be a rally on Long Beach City College campus on the 16th of February. My students are leading it. It's called a Unity March and Rally for Democracy and Civil Rights. They're keeping it more, not anti-Trump, but pro-protecting things that we have here for democracy and for having their rights. But they're mostly concerned about tuition costs and affordability of student debt. So according to that, I think President Trump has to address that issue directly. He's already addressing the issue of jobs for them. He's talking about keeping jobs here and bringing new ones. But the tuition debt and the affordability of colleges is really important for them.
And, a lot of people have said that it's a great life lesson of what these students are doing on the 16th of February, in that instead of using hate or negativity, I can't believe there's a president that I didn't vote for, use your voice for good.
Yes.
And move and accept what has happened, and then move forward and use your voice.
That's a great example of the rest of us, isn't it?
Yes.
That's at Long Beach City College, by the way, a liberal arts campus,
Yes.
And that's been a bit popular for those students and their parents, because I've got one still in college, and the cost of a college education
is prohibitive.
Skyrocketed.
It's skyrocketed. The tuition used to be free in California from 1960 to 1980. Governor Pete Wilson paid $37 a semester at UC Berkeley Law School. And Schwarzenegger paid $6 for all 15 units at Santa Monica College. When I tell my students that, they can't believe it. They want to know, how can we bring this back for something similar, at least affordable education?
No, I agree. I went to the University of California at Berkeley. My $1,200 a semester. It was the best deal in town. But, I think the challenge here is, once government gets involved, things typically don't get less expensive when government gets involved. And that's where I think you're going to see some pushback or some friction is, nothing in this life is free. Somebody is ultimately going to pay for it, and the challenge is who pays.
Who will pay for it? Well, I'll give you some numbers. It costs $74 billion to give all the students in America, across the country, tuition-free education. And yet, if you close certain loopholes and make sure money can come in, you could bring that in easily, $1 trillion or less. Even $500 billion would bring in, even cover that, plus have money for investment in the things Trump is talking about. The roads, the bridges, the engineer. American Society of Civil Engineers said it'll cost $3 trillion to bring up our infrastructure. President Trump is offering $10 trillion in 10 years, like $1 trillion a year. So it should be quite interesting. If Congress goes for it, create a lot of jobs for those young people coming out as engineers, wouldn't it?
Well, and if the president can repatriate some of the money that was overseas,
that's true.
Companies just kept there because the taxes were so high. If that tax rate gets lowered, there's a couple $1 trillion that will come back into the United States, but the companies right now are not going to pay the higher tax
until the tax goes.
Until the tax goes. Until the tax.
And he's talked about looking into that.
I understand he's also looked at Washington and our federal government, and right off the bat, he sees $1 trillion in waste that he believes he can cut away.
Yeah,
he's going to need help for that.
And Glenn, I hope that that's such an easy claim to say you're going to cut the size of government. Many have tried. Few, if any, have succeeded. I mean, Bill Clinton even proclaimed the era of big government over. So if Mr. Trump does what his campaign promises and takes not a scalpel, but an axe to get to the federal government and shrinks it, I think that good things could result from that.
People will howl about whose program is going to get cut too. You'll see what happens there.
Of course.
Well, no, you've got the bureaucrats, that want to keep their piece of the turf. But frankly, that's one of the reasons he got elected. I mean, most of the country is struggling, Yet Washington has become this big, elaborate city where not a lot of people are hurting.
No.
Very good point. That gave rise to the populist anger that was there. And he's got a great chance to try to turn this thing around, you know. This is a change election all the way. It's something that happens every so often, you know, every so many years, where people want some really drastic, significant root changes. And this has to do with the economy and making this country a middle-class country again.
Well, we sort of saw it 8 years ago when America wanted change.
We did,
right?
And the same type of situation existed, but the change it didn't reach everyone.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Quite a pendulum swing. Do you see forecasts in the future that we're going to continue to see these big pendulum swings from the right to the left?
You know, I don't know, but if you look at the 2018 election and the senators that are up in the United States Senate, the overwhelming majority are from states that that Donald Trump won, which would bode favorably for the Republicans. However, the 10,000-pound gorilla hiding out there is once the Republicans repeal Obamacare, they own it. And whatever comes next, unless they do something in a bipartisan fashion, that could be the millstone around the Republican Party's neck, just like Obamacare was around the Democrats.
All right, let's take our look here to the TV where the first family has gotten out of the limo. They are at the viewing stand, the entire extended family there, and now they will be able to view the parade that is a little ways behind them. Glenn and I were looking and saying, where's the rest of the parade? But there is space between. They have to get into their positions to be able to view the 8,000 participants who will be parading in front of them. This has been going on, guys, for what, 45 minutes or so? So it's got about another 45 minutes to go. It started an hour late. But it looks like that everything's moving smoothly. Donald Trump has gotten out of his vehicle, I guess, for the third time now. He wants to walk officially, and then he got out in front of the Trump Hotel, and now getting out to go into the viewing stands.
Yeah, you almost said his hotel. So
I almost said it.
It's not his anymore.
I almost said it, but you heard. I said Trump Hotel. Editing on the fly, right?
Yeah. It's not being controlled by a blind trust, but it's being controlled by his two sons.
Oh, and by the way, remember earlier I was talking about the limo that Trump is going to get. This limo, Trump's limo is not ready yet. So this is actually the Beast, which is Obama's limo. So loaning the limo to President Trump for a moment, but his limo will be soon ready, and he'll be able to name it appropriately whenever he wants.
Slight cosmetic change on the license plate.
Yes.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Well, they've made a turn here, so I would assume at some point here we're going to start seeing, all the branches of the military as he's settled into the reviewing stand, or has he settled in?
Well, we haven't seen him settle in. And, earlier I was talking about each branch of the military will pay tribute to our country with a flyover at the appropriate point when their branch is represented in the parade. The Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force. That will be very special.
Yeah, it will be.
It never fails. You get goosebumps when they do the flyovers.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Sure.
You feel so patriotic. Let's talk a little bit about the inaugural ball. They've got balls. They've got 3 inaugural balls to attend tonight. Melania, I'm assuming, is going to, First Lady is going to change clothes, and President Trump will probably put on a fancy tuxedo, and they will be heading to an inaugural ball, which is a tradition that began back in 1809 after the inauguration of James Madison. And it's so much interesting history over the years for these inaugural balls. Obviously, celebration. There have been up to 14 on inauguration night. That was during President Clinton's second inaugural.
I was at one of those.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
Tell us, what was it all about?
It was quite amazing because everyone was there, dancing away for quite a while, and we were waiting for President Clinton to come to our ball because he was going to 12 of them all together.
Oh.
So once he got there and he and Hillary danced on the floor, it was really quite magical.
So do they go into each ball and dance and say hi to the prospective parties, each ball?
And with him, he started off at the Arkansas ball because that was his home state.
Right,
and then we were waiting for that to make the other balls as well.
Oh, what a great opportunity for you.
Very exciting.
But what, they spent about 15, 20 minutes at each ball? And
Yes, about that much.
Yeah, if you go to 12, you don't have that long. You have to make
That's
it
true.
quick.
You got to hit them all. Okay, we see Vice President Mike Pence and his family now emerging from the limo. They're headed for the viewing stand as they wave to the supporters there at the parade route. Want to show you what's going on in some other parts of Washington. We have some video, if we could take a look at that. This, you're seeing a fire here. This is actually a limousine that is on fire. And I don't know if it's the same limo, but Larry King has tweeted out that protesters in D.C. smashed the windows of my hired SUV and many other cars. I was working in studio and I'm okay, but my driver is a bit rattled. So these protests continue away from the parade route. And, you know, that's what they do. They're coming into town to cause mayhem, and they have trashed several limos. We showed you one earlier that all the windows were smashed out.
That's an awful thing in a democracy. You know, we have a chance to protest peacefully. It's in our Bill of Rights to peacefully assemble, and then you start using violence, and it's totally counterproductive. It turns off people to your message, to your ideas. It's just an awful thing.
We saw so many police officers earlier when the protest started, probably around 10 o'clock this morning. Security, $100 million being spent on security just to make sure that everyone is safe and sound. But there will always be those who want to cause trouble.
Yes.
Well, it seems like any big event we have now,
yes.
You know, no matter what it is, there's always these anarchists that show up
and they infiltrate the movement or the group. Yeah. Without the group even knowing sometimes, and they start acting like this.
And yet you look at the parade, and it's, you know, it's total, you know, organized. I mean, there are people protesting. We have commented on some of the anti-Trump signs in the crowd, which more power to them. But people are generally behaving themselves, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's just disappointing, and I don't know what is gained by violence or lighting a car on fire.
Well, again, and something that I truly believe in is that I feel like people are not listening to one another. I think people are judging and staying on their side, and even if they're voicing their opinion, they're not listening. They're not taking time to listen, and so the result is violence. It's negativity and violence. It's really unfortunate.
And do you remember President Obama in his farewell address? He talked about the need for a common discourse, a common language that we could, as Americans, regardless of our point of view, we can use the common language to debate and discuss these issues with differences. But we have to have some common understanding, and we got to work back to getting that back.
And I think Obama has demonstrated that very well during this transition and prior to, during the campaign. And even welcoming them to the White House this morning. Yes. He's been very, you know, even President Trump has said that they are getting along great. They've had extended meetings, they've had short meetings, they're getting along very well. I feel like Trump will be able to call Obama if need be, and vice versa. I think Obama understands that this is the people spoke, and this is a transition.
It's a pretty elite club, and I don't think that you want someone in that club to demean the, I mean, it's about the office, not the person occupying the office.
Absolutely.
So it's nice to see. I mean, you had President Carter, President Clinton, Bush 43. Bush 41 is a little under the weather, so he wasn't there. But it's a pretty good gathering of former or of ex-presidents.
6 living presidents.
And an elite club that even the Republicans, the former Republican presidents, didn't necessarily agree with the agenda of Donald Trump. But you know what? On Inauguration Day, they showed up. They did their patriotic duty. Again, we continue to watch the inaugural parade in Washington, and we also are keeping an eye on the weather here in Southern California, which is Pretty nasty right now. Let's get an update from Kai.
Yeah, thanks very much, Glenn. It is nasty, and what we're talking about is a lot of flash flood warnings that are taking place out there. We also have numerous thunderstorm warnings that are also going on. And here's what we're dealing with. You're looking at your 5 Live Max Doppler, the wide view from Santa Barbara to San Diego, points east. We're seeing a little bit of some sunspots right now. That means we're seeing a break in some portions of LA County and Ventura County. But here's where the sunshine interacts with the moisture in the atmosphere and the lift, and that's why we have thunderstorms that are starting to pop off. Let's get you right into the foothills above Sierra Madre, first and foremost, the Mount Wilson area, and just above Monrovia. They're seeing this cell. This is dropping a lot of heavy rainfall right now through that particular area. As we look at the snow continuing to fall in Wrightwood, then we'll make our way out along the 210 near Rancho Cucamonga. As we head towards San Bernardino, these cells along the Cajon Pass continue also to open up, dropping anywhere from about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain per hour. We're looking down towards Paris, Lake Elsinore as we focus in on this cell. This is a very large cell right now, which extends from Paris to the northeasterly direction, pardon me, all the way to Lake Elsinore to the southwest. So the 215, as well as that 15 freeway now, seeing a lot of heavy rainfall. And then we'll take a look towards Murrieta, the Temecula area. They also are dealing with rain that continues to make its way into that area. Orange County, a close look, you're seeing a bit of a break. You did have a severe thunderstorm warning that is now most likely will subside over the next few minutes. But again, we've got a lot going on here in Southern California. You can see these areas, and I've outlined them in red for you. We will start off with these. These are indeed flash flood warnings, and this one extends from Santa Clarita all the way out near Acton along the 14. Then we'll take a look out towards the Fontana and Rancho Cucamonga area. These foothill sections seeing a lot of flooding activity. We're talking about that taking place throughout the afternoon as well. Then we'll move back just towards the Glendora, Arcadia, Duarte area. This is where we had seen that burn-scarred area, so some dangerous conditions in that particular portion of Southern California, the San Gabriel Valley foothills. Here is again a reminder of that burn area near Duarte, the flash flood warning until 3:15 p.m. And what we're also dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, are a lot of issues out there. The Pacific Coast Highway is now closed in both directions at Sunset Boulevard. So Pacific Coast Highway and Sunset Boulevard, PCH right now closed. Santa Clarita Valley dealing with major flooding as well as some trees that are down. The California Incline is also closed right now. They're in Santa Monica. And Malibu area canyons, we're talking about Malibu Canyon all the way out towards Canyon-Doom. Those canyons also closed for the time being. Sepulveda, the Sepulveda Catch Basin, that is also experiencing flooding. It was built to do so, so it is doing its job, and flash flood watch is holding through 6 p.m. So a lot going on out here, Glenn and Lou. But again, flash flood warnings, they are numerous, and we'll continue to update everybody through the afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Kai. One of those locations we're concerned about, we've been watching, is in the city of Duarte.
Wow. Yes, that's where Erin Myers is. She's been there most of the day. And when last time we talked to you, Erin, a lot of flooding going on. Has the rain subsided a bit?
Lou, Glenn, the rain has calmed down a bit, but you can see the damage has already been done here on Mel Canyon Road. Just about an hour ago, the water and mud flow, debris was so strong it pushed these K-rails out of the way and then made its way down the street here. We are getting a little bit of a break, though, and to talk more about it, I'm here with Captain Fred Salmo with the LA County Fire Department. Now, you guys, all of us were shocked when we saw this, but you guys were ready for this, prepared that this could happen.
Yeah, as of yesterday, we manned and we have patrols throughout the Duarte area and the Azusa area along the foothills where most of the fires came through this last summer.
And then what precautions have you been taking? I know we have the K-rails, but you guys have been very busy.
That's true. Again, yes, we do have the K-rails. We also have sandbags located in specific areas. We also have our dozer teams out to help with patrols. So we've been preparing and educating the local residents of the foothill areas also of the mud and flow debris problems that we've been having here with that in the last the last storm.
And then what can residents in this area do to help you guys when you're out here?
When we're out here, number one, the educational process is, again, to listen. So we had some soft closures and we had some residents to remain in place. We're advising them not to go through any heavy flows of water or streams. We just had an incident about 10 minutes ago where we're still in the process of evacuating at least 5 to 10 residents that was blocked by mud and flow. So we're telling everybody to remain in place. Don't come out and look at any of the mud flows. Do not walk or drive your cars through any heavy water. And then we're at the tail end of this storm, so we do still have rocks flowing down, and so we have hard closures on Brookside and Mel Canyon, and also in Encanto and Fish Canyon.
And then the school down the street, the kids are safe, they're okay, but parents are being told to pick them up in a little bit of a different way this afternoon?
Yes, about 4 hours ago we made a decision to divert the pickup of the children. We had the children stay in place till the normal school hours. So between 1:30 and 2, we diverted them away from the mud flow area, so they are safe.
Thank you very much, Captain. I appreciate it. And if you guys are in this area, if you do live in this area, it is best to just stay in place, shelter in place at this time. And eventually the cleanup is what's going to be next in this area. But fortunately, no injuries that we've heard of. So that is always a good thing. Here in Duarte, I'm Erin Myers. I'll send it back to you.
Erin, thank you so much. And of course, this is just round 2 of 3 storms that are expected to hit our area.
Yeah, and it's not just Los Angeles, Orange County, and the Inland Empire that's getting hit. Up in Santa Barbara County, the El Capitan Canyon Resort and Campground has been completely flooded. They've had to go in there and rescue people. Vehicles have been knocked all around. They've got quite a mess up there. And we do have some images, I believe, from what's going on up there that has been provided by the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. They're telling us that they've had to go in there with tractors to rescue people. Vehicles pushed around. A lot of their buildings there are flooded. It looks like that campground is probably going to be a complete loss. We'll try to get more information on what's going on up there and bring you those images as soon as we can.
Yeah, and if you have any friends or family in that area and you're being affected by this, give us a call here at KTLA. We'd love to chat with you and see what we can find out exactly what's happening up there. We don't have a reporter in that area, so you guys could be our reporter for us.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back with more of the president's inaugural parade, as well as the nasty weather going on here in Southern California. You've been watching the KTLA 5 News at 1.